Welcome everyone. My name is Dr. Chris Graves and I'm an academic in the University of Adelaide Business School, and the purpose of this session today is really to give you a bit of an overview of the business degrees that we do offer through the business school. In particular, the undergraduate degrees. Through the business school we offer a range of different degrees, from undergraduate, postgraduate, MBA, PhD and also executive education. But I'm going to particularly focus on looking at our undergraduate degrees today. In particular, what we classify really as our business degree programs. After all, that's what you are here for. And if you're not here for it, then you've actually mixed up your times and you're in the wrong spot. So let's talk about one of the key cohort of business degrees we do offer here at the business school is what we call the Bachelor of Commerce. And I'll talk about in a minute what we mean by this term commerce. But as you can see, at first glimpses, it's a bit daunting. You think, well, in actual fact, there's not just one degree, there's actually several. But one of the first take-home messages I want you to have from today is really the fact that we do have a generic Bachelor of Commerce degree which all students can actually enter into, even when you're unsure about, if you're here today, really what part of commerce you want to specialise in. I know that when I was at school and being pushed to make career choices, I had a general understanding of business and I had an interest in business, but I didn't know what area to specialise in. And so if that's you here today, then what you could actually do is actually enrol in our generic Bachelor of Commerce degree, and then it's actually during that first year, as you get a taste for the different first year subjects that cover the different discipline areas, you might get a bit of a feel for, you know what, these kind of areas really interest me in business and I'd like to actually take this particular pathway. And those pathways are really highlighted there in the specific BCom, Bachelor of Commerce degrees there, starting from accounting, corporate finance, international business, management and also marketing. So again, just to reiterate, don't be concerned if you don't know what to specialise at this point in time. If you've got an interest in pursuing a career in business, then you can actually enrol in the Bachelor of Commerce and make a decision towards the end of your first year as to what specific a focus you're going to have on your Bachelor of Commerce. And all that happens internally is that we'd actually be transferring your enrolment from the Bachelor of Commerce generic degree into that specialist Bachelor of Commerce degree itself. The other set of degrees we're going to talk about that come under this category of business degrees is our Bachelor of Finance, and I'm going to be talking about the BFin and also the BFin International. A good place to start though is to talk about what do we actually mean by commerce? Or what are we talking about? We call it a Bachelor of Commerce, it's a business degree. Well, what is commerce actually about? It's a multidisciplinary collection of areas of knowledge. And why are they important? They're actually fundamental for the management and coordination of organisations. And it doesn't matter what type of organisation we're talking about, whether we're talking about a small firm to a large firm, whether we're talking about a publicly listed company or an unlisted company, whether we're talking about an organisation that's there to make a profit or really a not-for-profit entity, when we have many of them providing a range of different services through our organisations themselves. Or it may be actually a government entity or a government organisation themselves. What you'll find is that we're covering areas which are applicable in the field of commerce to all these different contexts. So what are these particular collection of areas that we really categorise under this umbrella of this term commerce? They are specifically the disciplines of accounting, corporate finance, economics, marketing, management, commercial and taxation law, international business, and also entrepreneurship itself. So really what a BCom does is brings together all these different discipline areas of knowledge which are essential for the management and coordination of enterprises, regardless of what we're talking about, into one single degree themselves. And as I've already highlighted, and I'll keep on highlighting through this talk, the BCom has the flexibility so that students have the opportunity to take different majors in their degree. They may just focus on one particular major and that will become the theme through their BCom degree. There may be others that actually have an interest in two themes and therefore we're packaging it up into having two majors in their BCom degree itself. So it's a very flexible structure, the Bachelor of Commerce degree itself. There are core courses that all our BCom degrees are structured with. And so what we talk about them being our first level courses that all students enrolled in a BCom will be required to do. And again, that's getting them exposure to all the different discipline areas that we're talking about that come under this umbrella term of commerce itself. But it's flexible so that even if a student chooses a particular discipline area that they want to specialise in, for example, it might be accounting, there is still that flexibility in the Bachelor of Commerce degree that they could actually take another major. So one of the honours students that I'm supervising at the moment, she graduated from a BCom accounting last year, but with that BCom accounting, she did a major in management as well, because she had an interest in management, but her specialty wanted to be accounting, but she wanted to do a major in the field of management as well. And her honours topic that she's doing, this research degree she's doing with me, is really combining and drawing on those two strengths from her studies, accounting and also management itself. The BCom's also good in that it can actually be offered as a double degree. And probably one of the most popular double degrees here at the University of Adelaide is the BCom Law double degree itself. Unfortunately, if you're doing a double degree, it doesn't take you 3 years, it will take you longer than 3 years. The BCom Law actually takes 5 years to do instead of 6, because there is some overlap there between the two degrees when you're taking them together. But nevertheless, you could do, for example, a BCom Accounting or a BCom Corporate Finance and with law itself, or a BCom Management and Law. So there's a lot of flexibility to do there. The way that, for those of you interested in terms of the way the BCom is structured, we have 3 different levels of subjects throughout the degree. Level 1, Level 2, Level 3. And basically, students are required to do a certain number of points at each of those 3 levels in order to actually graduate itself. Obviously, Level 3 are the more advanced subjects compared to Level 1 subjects themselves. So let's go to talk about one of these first specialty BCom degrees, and that is the BCom Accounting. And it actually happens to be the degree that I actually did. And even though I'm still working at university, it doesn't mean I wasn't able to get a job, by the way. I did actually go out and work out in industry and came back into academia later in life itself. But here's some examples of some courses that you'll specifically do if you're actually taking this BCom accounting degree itself. So examples might be that you look in the world of financial accounting, which is really underlying all the principles that are associated to generating financial reports that we hear referred to in the media. How we assess the financial performance of an organisation, how we assess the financial position of an organisation. Underlying that is a whole series of accounting standards or rules which guide the practice of accounting so that we're actually comparing organisations using the same foundation. So they're the kind of things you explore when you're studying financial accounting, and also particularly about corporate accounting, which is really accounting that specifically applies to corporations, organisations incorporated under the Australian Corporations Act. We have subjects called management accounting, which really focuses on educating students on how we can use financial information for internal management purposes. So, for example, if we make a product or we deliver a service or roll out a program, how do we work out how much it does cost, so that we know what kind of prices to charge to recoup our costs and make some kind of return? We do cover other things like accounting theory. Can you believe that? In accounting, we do have a theory subject. It's not only in the realms of politics that you have theory. In actual fact, the practice of accounting, it is a human invention. but it is underpinned by and influenced by a range of different theories through the decades. And so we actually touch on and look at those theories to actually understand why accounting is practiced the way it is today. Our BCom accounting is accredited by the two major accounting bodies here in Australia, which is it's CPA Australia and the Institute of Chartered Accountants in Australia, which is in the process of changing its name, by the way, with the merger of the New Zealand Institute of Chartered Accountants. But when we talk about career opportunities, much broader than just being accountant per se. So what you may find is by doing this degree, you might find yourself working in the specialist area of being a taxation expert. So you're able to actually work out and provide advice and give strategies of how people can actually manage their tax affairs much more effectively. It may be that you actually operate in the world of corporate accounting, and that is really working in organisations, and you're basically running their accounting systems so that these organisations know how they're performing, what their financial position is, and playing a key role with management in ensuring that the company remains financially viable and achieves its overall objectives itself. Well, you might get involved in what we call business advisory services. So that's a bit more of like a consulting type role. You're taking the skills that you've developed and then you're actually using those skills to actually provide a service to organisations that are paying customers to your organisation. That's particularly the case if you go and work for an accounting firm where they perform those types of advisory services themselves. So let's give an example. Christina Heath, she graduated from our Bachelor of Commerce Accounting in 2010, and she loved us so much that she stayed on for an extra year and she did a BCom Honours degree. Now, the purpose today is not to talk about the BCom Honours, but in short, it's basically an extra year, which is like a one-year research degree on top of your BCom, and she graduated from that in 2011. Straight after that, she was actually recruited by one of the big four global accounting firms, EY, and she really now is working in a role with EY, which we classify as a management consultant. What is she doing? She's involved in sectors such as mining, gas, the education sector, and also the government sector, providing business advisory services to those different industries. She's based in Perth. And what is she doing? As you can see, some of the things here have really got nothing to do with accounting. So she's using her accounting skills, but she's providing advice relating to strategy, cost management, how to improve processes within organisations, and also managing key projects with these particular types of clients that EY are involved in. You know, in talking to her, what's been really important for her in her career, she really talks about, without a doubt, having a good understanding of accounting principles and rules that come through the BCom accounting, but also the communication skills that she's developed through the degree as well. Let's go on to the next one, the BCom management. Here's some examples of BCom management, some subjects to do, organisational behaviour. So that's really making sense of understanding how you and I tick. And when we work together in organisations, you know what, we may behave differently. We may be motivated by different things, but you know, organisations have the same common goal, or an organisation we work for may have a common goal that we need to work for. And so really, management is really about understanding people's behaviour and how do we align that and manage it in ways so that we're actually all working to the same common goal for the organisation itself. We've introduced a subject, and it's one that I teach, called Small and Family Business Perspectives. And we actually look at the life cycle of an owner. Entry, becoming a business owner, starting up a business, issues to do with growing a enterprise, and then issues to do with exit, whether it might be passing on to the next gen, exit through sale to management, or a trade sale to another business itself. We look at what are the different issues that owners face in managing those different stages of the life cycle itself. Other things we touch on is the whole thing about strategy, understanding the principles of competition and competitive behaviour, and how organisations can develop a strategy in order to actually enable them to adapt and survive in an increasingly competitive environment itself. We talk about human resource management, international management, and also managing conflict and change within organisations. We talk about the three certainties in life: death, taxes, and change. And being able to bring about change within organisations is increasingly a very important skill. We talk about that in this management stream. Again, doing this degree leads to ability to be associated and become members of professional bodies that are specifically related to the area of management themselves. And what about in terms of career opportunities? A business manager, leader, management consultant, a HR manager, employment consultant, business analyst, or business administrator. Now, for those of the parents here and actually sitting here, you might be sitting here with your kids and think, you know what? My son and my daughter, I can't ever imagine them being a leader. They can't even actually keep their room clean. Hard to believe, but you know, a lot of our kids have some great leadership potential, and this degree is really about developing those leadership skills and giving them the knowledge and expertise that they can build on to pursue that kind of career if they have management and or leadership tendencies. So let's talk about Amy Williams. She graduated from the BCom management last year, and there she is. Everyone looks happy on graduation day, and they graduate from this very hall. It's a great hall to be in, and it's a great hall to actually graduate from. And she is now working for a company called Northline. It's a large employer here in Australia. It employs over 500 employees, and they really specialise in the transport or logistics area themselves. So, how is she taking that degree, and how has that led her to this kind of role? She's in a really great program with Northline, and she's in this, what they call their Future Leaders program. And what she's been exposed to is all the different discipline areas important for management in that organisation. So she's on a rolling career path within Northline. She's spending a few months in HR management, a few months in finance, a few months in marketing, a few months in ops management, and then in admin management. And then based upon that and how she goes in these different areas, they'll actually select where they're going to actually align her to be a manager within that organisation itself. Let's go to the next one, BCom Marketing. Introduction to marketing, understanding consumer behaviour. If organisations can understand what influences our purchasing patterns, well, guess what? That can influence not only the products that they develop, but also their marketing campaigns. And so a key part of marketing is understanding the behaviour of you and me when it comes to spending money. My wife mainly spends our money, by the way. It's actually emphasised on real-world applications to concepts. So you said, yeah, what does that mean? Let's just break it down. There's actually projects that students have to do in doing the BCom marketing, which is actually applying what they've learned to a real-world scenario. So we often have organisations associated with the degree, and they'll be working on specific projects to apply what they've learned to that particular context. So right from an early stage when they're doing their degree, they're getting that hands-on experience about trying to apply what they're learning in a practical context itself. Again, the degree is associated with professional organisations associated with the marketing field, and doing the BCom marketing works towards getting qualifications in the professional sector in the marketing field itself. Where does this lead you? Career opportunities. Marketing manager, marketing consultant, market researcher, product advertising manager, a PR officer, or tourism and wine marketing. Something that we have quite a strength in connections here with the university in terms of winemaking, and also in terms of the business research we do in wine marketing itself. So let's talk about Angelo. He graduated a few years ago, in 2007, he graduated from this degree, BCom Marketing, and now he's employed by Freedom Foods. Freedom Foods is an Australian manufacturer of food product that has grown in popularity as we become aware of food intolerances, and a lot of foods that are currently made aren't suitable for many of us, and they specialise in producing a range of different products like gluten-free type products, and they've been very, very successful, a public listed company with over $90 million in sales. He is now being promoted to a brand portfolio manager itself. So it's actually quite a very senior role in marketing with the brands of this organisation and how they use them to generate the sales around the country themselves. And so he's actually had quite a rapid progression through the organisation to that role itself. BCom, International Business. So again, this is a commerce degree, but this is specifically designed for those students who have got a particular interest in international affairs. So combining international context with commerce, with business itself. And so we look at issues about international trade and investment policy. We look at issues about legal aspects to doing business internationally. We look at marketing aspects to doing business internationally, and also management issues with managing business internationally. When we're dealing with different cultures, and understanding those different cultures may mean that we need to manage organisations differently in different contexts, and also market them differently also. There's additional requirements with this particular pathway, and that is, unlike the other BComs, is that you have to spend either one semester overseas at one of our approved universities. When I say approved universities we've got a partnership with overseas. Or alternatively, they can do approved cultural courses or foreign language studies. So as you can see, there's actually an international cultural aspect to actually doing this degree itself. And these are the type of career opportunities that you can actually take. It may be actually launching or growing a business in the international context. It may be involved in the importing or exporting role within organisations. Or it may be a government type role, for example, working in Austrade, or the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade. Or alternatively, it may be working for an aid agency themselves. Lastly, let's talk about the BCom corporate finance itself. And so what do we learn about this? So this has got a specific focus on finance aspects to the world of commerce itself. So for example, how do we work out the value of an organisation? That might seem a simple thing to some when you think about it, but in actual fact it's quite complex. And so we actually go through a range of different models we can use to place values on organisations, so we know, for example, what they can be sold for. We look at issues to do about trading of options and futures in order to actually manage risks associated with the affairs of the organisation itself. Again, if we actually do this particular degree, it actually offers affiliate membership with a nationally recognised FINSIA, and also it's a starting point to progression to getting CFA status, which is based in the USA, and it's highly sought after. Again, career opportunities this can actually take you towards is really in terms of banking. That might be merchant banking or retail banking. It might be working as a corporate treasurer within an organisation, being a financial advisor, being involved in stockbroking, being a commodities or futures trader, or a fund or portfolio manager themselves. It's probably now appropriate to actually switch over and talk about, when we're talking about the BCom corporate finance, to talk about the BFin. What's the difference between the BCom corporate finance and the BFin? So let's talk a bit about the BFin. So what does it do? It's actually a degree that introduces students to the global and institutional aspects around the world and its financial systems itself. It's got a broad coverage of a range of different specialised financial institutions around the world, their asset classes, and the markets at which they are traded in around the world itself. So what do we look at? We look at not only studying financial markets from around the world, but how we go about valuations, international trade and finance issues, financial modelling, and also financial management itself. And there's actually 2 degrees within this. You can actually do a BPhil or a BPhil International. The main difference between the two is that there's about 4 subjects that you do in the BPhil International that you're not required to do in the BPhil, and they particularly take a international context, so international trade context, and hence why it's got the international bracket at the end of its name. Again, it offers affiliation membership with professional bodies in the finance area itself. And what you see is that the career opportunities from doing the BPhil are very similar to the BCom corporate finance, but maybe just a couple extra, and that is really to become an actuary, an economist, or a financial statistician. So probably what you should start to get a bit of a feel for is that the BPhil compared to the BCom is probably got much more of a mathematical type focus. It draws more of the linkages with economics, and particularly econometrics, and therefore it's probably more suited to those who are particularly strong at the mathematics area itself. So let's talk about Wayne. Wayne graduated from the BPhil in 2007, and he also stayed on extra year to do a BCom honours with us in 2008. He was employed by one of the big 4 global accounting firms as a financial modeller and valuer, so really drawing on his finance skills, econometric skills that he developed in the degree itself. And he's now currently employed by Discovery Parks Group. Now, what the heck is Discovery Parks Group? It's one of the largest owners and operators of caravan parks around Australia. It's actually quite big business. So they have $240 million in assets, and he's got a role of investment analyst. And so he's actually played a really important pivotal role in actually assisting this organisation working through and surviving through the stress put on the organisation post-global financial crisis. It hit tourism very, very hard, and consequently this organisation, and he's played an instrumental role in actually trying to keep them on board and stay alive. So I talked about the BPhil or BCom, so it really boils down to what strengths you have and whether you want to have more of a financial and mathematics element to your degree, which you'd probably do more of a BPhil as opposed to a BCom itself. Look, we are running out of time. I've been given the wind-up. Let's be honest, you are spoilt for choices. There are so many business degrees out there, it is actually a bit mind-boggling, isn't it? So my role is really to talk about, why Adelaide? Why here at the University of Adelaide as opposed to where else you could actually do it? Well, we know that we are internationally accredited by one of the top accreditation agencies in the world, the AACSB, which is based in the USA. Business degrees are highly regarded in the marketplace, and we do know that graduates have great opportunities not only locally, domestically, but also internationally as a result of their links with the university and the degrees that we do actually offer. Our academic staff are well recognised. For example, one of our academics that teaches in the accounting program, he's currently the president here of CPA Australia, one of Australia's premier accounting bodies themselves. But in addition to that, there's some additional things that we actually offer students as they're actually going through their degree. And let me just quickly flick on them. The First Year Learning Centre. We know first year, and in particular first year, first semester, is the toughest semester of all our undergraduate students. And we know that because the dropout rate is the largest in that. And it's a big transition from school to university. And in response to this, we've actually set up the First Year Learning Centre. It's a centre that's dedicated specifically to first year students to actually assist them and support them through that transition so that they actually feel that they're in an environment where it's sink or swim, but they actually helped in that transition from school to university itself. We actually have the peer mentoring program. The peer mentoring program is basically, if you come here as a student first year, you're going to be buddied up with a second or third year student, and normally a student that's doing quite well, and they are there to actually provide you support and help answer questions that you might have as you're progressing through your first year of the degree. We have the Adelaide Advantage, which started recently, which is a fantastic initiative, and basically what it is it's a subject that students can take which helps them getting prepared for their career. So it's a career readiness program. So in addition to all the specific discipline areas, you can be assured that each student is having the opportunity to develop skills which are required to be work ready. We have study abroad opportunities. I won't talk much more about that, but we've got some great partnerships with universities overseas. And so you have a great opportunity to spend a semester studying overseas, counting towards your degree and having a rich experience from doing that. We have this great Australian e-challenge competition, which you can take as an elective in one of your degrees that you do. And what it actually is doing is actually getting you to understand, working with a group of students to try take an idea, entrepreneurial idea, from a concept to reality. And so it's actually developing the entrepreneurial skill set within individuals. I encourage you to go across the road to the hub, the Professions Hub, where you'll find much more information about some of the things I've touched on here. And thank you for your attention.
Is a world-class education and research institution.